I'm sure most of you know that the name Camry comes from the Japanese word kamuri, which means crown. That gives you a sense of what Toyota's Camry wants to deliver, and in fact, this whole big executive car segment aims to deliver. The Camry, of course, in its newest avatar is more plush than before. Now comes with a 2.5-litre petrol-only motor with an automatic transmission only, which puts it in a bit of a niche. So this is a car you blow up your bonus on, you spend 5 days of the week in the backseat, pamper yourself there, and on the weekends maybe step in the front and enjoy the drive. But that puts it directly in line of the top dog in this segment, which is Škoda Superb. It's won all of our comparators up till now. It's really a strong package and it's going to be fighting the Camry hard. But that's not all. We have the rest of the pack as well. We've got Hyundai's new fluidic Sonata and of course Honda's stalwart, the Accord. We're going to stack them all up and see how they fare. Compared to its predecessor, the new Camry suit is more classically cut. There is a hint of Lexus in its design, but without the aggression. Its clean and crisp lines are made all the more imposing by its immense proportions. But when it comes to sheer size, it's the Honda Accord that's the big daddy here. Its length, width and wheelbase are stretched further than any of the others here. The styling though is a bit dated, but then it is the oldest of the 4 cars here. Another old hand is the Škoda Superb. Familiarity has made it easier on the eye. Sure, its headlamps look smart and the ridged Škoda hood has always looked nice. But the short bonnet, long cabin and stubby boot still feel a bit awkward. The most striking car then is the Hyundai Sonata. Its design flows dramatically from the layered nose to the rolling tail lamps. Its coupe-like roofline makes it sportier still. All in all, it is a complete head-turner. But what really matters with these cars is how they feel on the inside. The Sonata tries to seduce you with its curvy dash and oodles of equipment. It's the only car here to offer heating and cooling for all 4 seats. The long wheelbase provides plenty of knee room in the back, but the seat is set a bit low and the roof eats into the headroom as it swoops down. The small windows don't help matters either. The tacky plastics and an unimpressive build limit the Sonata's charm even further. Meanwhile, the Accord's immense proportions and low window lines bowl you over with a sense of space. And sitting 3 abreast is no problem in this wide car. Although dashboard plastics are smart and simple, for this 25 lakh rupee car, that just isn't enough. Basics like steering mounted audio controls and powered passenger seats are sorely missed. So, the battle for the richest in-car experience trickles down to the Superb and Camry. The Škoda's materials are rich and the simple dash looks classy too. A neat touchscreen music system is also offered on the Elegance version. The trump card though is the back seat. The legroom is absolutely phenomenal. The big doors give easy access to the bench. There are also sunshades for really bright days. However, seat cushioning is a bit firm and sitting 3 abreast can be a bit of a squeeze. So, can the Camry top the Superb? Now the Camry may not have as much knee room as the Superb, but it is a very generous place to be. Now you've got controls for the front seat here. I'm sure you've seen these before to adjust the front seat if you want more space or whatever. But that aside, this back seat is just so well designed. I mean, the seat base extends all the way almost to my knee. It's just great in terms of support. The seats are so well sculpted. The cushioning is so nice. This is a back seat you really wouldn't mind spending time in. The armrest and big windows improve the backseat experience further. And when it comes to equipment, the Camry isn't poorly equipped either. The slab of wood on the dash and its fit finish exudes an air of richness and well-being that's just hard to shake off. Now, to add to the zen of the backseat experience, the sumptuous interiors need to be backed with dignified on-road behavior. In the Honda's case, its awkwardness over bumpy sections hurts its chances. Bumps get conveyed into the cabin with discomforting regularity and accuracy. The Sonata feels much calmer. Its soft ride quality feels very plush at lower speeds over potholed roads. But when it comes to really bad sections, the Hyundai loses its composure, showing a slight tendency to move around. So, once you factor in ride quality, the best backseat experience trickles down to the Superb and Camry. The Superb's ride quality was good, but with a hint of firmness at low speeds.
It has a slightly European setup, so you feel bumps like that in the cabin, but it's a very sophisticated thud, no harsh crashes and things like that. The benefit of that slightly firm setup is that at higher speeds, body control is really nice, so it rides very flat, even over broken sections of road at triple-digit speeds.
So, it was the Camry's dreamy, pillowy ride that made the backseat that much better.
Now the backseat of the Camry is a great place to be, not just because of this well-designed sofa, but also because of the ride quality, which is very pliant. It really absorbs the bumps very nicely, takes off the edge of all those things which normally would jar you in the cabin. It has a downside, of course. At higher speeds there is some amount of float, but it's not too bad, it's manageable, and it's also very quiet in here, so you don't need to raise your voice to talk. And of course the engine is very smooth and very refined, but the thing is, if you cross the 4000 RPM mark, it does become a bit audible. But given the way the Camry is designed and what it's meant to do, you really don't expect it to be pushed hard.
Yes, in this comparison, performance takes a backseat to responsiveness and refinement. This puts the Accord on the back foot. Its engine is a bit too audible inside the cabin, and the performance isn't stellar either. It really is hampered by its 5-speed auto box and its high-revving motor. The Sonata's direct injection inline-4 engine is very refined and builds power in a linear manner. However, the auto box is a bit annoying to use, and past the 4,500 RPM mark, the engine gets coarse too. Now the Skoda has the smallest motor, but it dishes out the most amount of torque, 25.5 kilograms from 1500 RPM. But when you put your foot down at low speeds, the response isn't instantaneous. The gearbox can be a bit slow and the torque doesn't completely kick in until 1500 RPM.
The Superb's motor is definitely very refined, but you do end up getting more tire noise inside this cabin.
But it has dollops of performance. Also, the direct injection motor feels buttery smooth. Meanwhile, the Camry's smooth and unhurried 6-speed gearbox suggests a slow pace. But the Toyota proved to be a good all-rounder.
Now the Camry's motor is quite impressive. It manages to give the Superb a run for its money in terms of straight line performance, and on top of that, it trumps the Superb when it comes to low speed drivability. It just is very responsive lower down in the rev range, so in stop-go traffic in the city, it really feels very easy to drive.
The Camry was the quickest in both the drivability tests. It was the quickest in 20 to 80 and from 40 to 100. From standstill to 100 km an hour, the Camry and Superb were separated by a hair's breadth, and at the 140 km mark, they were side by side. The Sonata trailed these two, while the Accord lagged further behind. And on the days that you drive enthusiastically, the Sonata's soggy steering and soft suspension won't find favor. Neither will the ragged Accord. The Camry doesn't really do anything wrong, but its inert steering and soft suspension won't endure it to the driver either. Of the four, there is one car that really does shine in this department.
Now, most people aren't looking for driving dynamics in cars in this class. But if you get behind the wheel of the Superb, trust me, you'll smile wide. It's got that ability. The steering feels nice and direct, it weighs up nicely, and then the suspension has a European feel, which gives it that low speed stiffness. Well, as the speeds rise, you still get that stiffness, you can still feel it, but along with that, you also get this ability to flatten out bumps. So the car really feels very composed, very confident. Body control is nice and tight. So you can really drive this car at higher speeds with a great amount of assurance.
The Superb's narrower body also has an advantage while maneuvering through tightly packed city streets. And when it comes to fuel efficiency, the Camry and Superb have near identical city figures, with the Superb pulling out an advantage out on the highway. The Sonata fares reasonably well, but the Accord lags further behind. So, all things considered, which one of these big executive cars will come out on top?
Now this is how things stand in the battle for the crown. Honda's Accord is a very strong package. It's got an airy cabin, lots of space and a strong motor. But it lacks that plushness that you're looking for a car in this class, whether it's the ride quality or the interiors. Now Hyundai Sonata is out to wow you with its price tag, with its design and with its features list. It really is an head-turning proposition. But when you look at the brass tacks, whether it's the ride or the backseat, it's just not as sorted out as our top two in this fight, which brings us to Skoda Superb. And there are many good reasons that makes the Superb a winner, like its backseat, its strong motor, its plush, rich feel on the inside. It really makes it such a strong product. And a bonus is that the driving experience is really very nice too if you decide to take the wheel. But when it comes to the backseat and the sheer plushness and a rich experience, if that's what you're looking for, then really there's no doubt about it. Toyota's new Camry is the car that dishes that out in the best possible manner. The downside to the Camry really is its price tag. It comes with a hefty premium. The Camry costs about 4 lakh rupees more than the Superb. And the Superb really doesn't trail behind the Camry in terms of abilities by all that much. So, in this comparison, is the Superb that seems like the sensible luxury pick. So at the end of the day, in this comparison shootout, the car that's taking the crown home is Skoda Superb.